Hey man, how are you?
Yep. I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's you're literally the first two people I've spoken to today. So if my
Okay.
voice is if my voice is a bit croaky, that's why. Okay.
Hey man, we get it.
Excellent word. Okay. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been really good. How about you?
Yeah, it's ticking along nicely, man. Ticking along very nicely. Um, Looking forward to your tour actually in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Hey,
Good. Yeah, that's awesome.
well, it's been we'll get into that. It's been 8 years.
It has
Why?
been 8 years.
Why so long, man?
I mean, I would come every year if we were asked. I think these tours are a really good I guess explanation of how if you ask for it, you get it kind of thing, The last time we came over, I tweeted out to AJ about Soundwave and said, "Hey, He Is Legend wants to come," and it worked out. Same with this. I just tweeted. I said, "I think we'll go to Australia this year," and then the guys from Beats Cartel hit us up, and they were like, "Yeah, dude, let's do it." So I mean, we kind of were at a point in our career where we were doing some readjusting with our team and figuring out like who was working for us. We just had some management changes and whatnot, and taking things into my own hands and doing a lot of the grunt work myself.
Mhm.
It fell in my lap, and it's been going off without a hitch. It's been really easy. All the people, the team that are there in country with you guys have been helping out so much. I mean, just lovely people. So if that's any indication of how it's going to go, I think everything's going to be smooth. And yeah, we're really excited.
Awesome, awesome. I don't know if I have been introduced. So I'm Ian. I'm from Highway, so probably already got that. Um,
Yeah.
talking to Soundwave. Actually, I'm not going to let that one go. I'm not going to let that slip through to the catcher. Um, there was over here in Australia. There was a big thing about Soundwave and a bit of controversy on that last one that bands
Yeah.
didn't get
Yeah.
paid and such forth.
Yeah.
Did you fall
Right.
under that?
We did not.
Oh, nice.
And I think it has to do with the fact that we we were a young band then. I guess you could still consider us a young band now in our town, in our success rate. People still don't, we are internationally known, but I wouldn't, we're not the biggest band in the world. But I think in that situation, because we were poor and we were the young band on the bill, but we were the featured artists, so we were on the actual flyer with everyone else. um it just, I think the fact that, I mean, without getting too far into it, it's probably a lot easier to give a small band on the bill their guarantee than to maybe pay the Smashing Pumpkins. You know what I mean? Um, I can't really get into any of the politics behind that, because obviously we were just in and out, and
Yeah.
that festival meant the world to me because I got to see multiple bands that I grew up idolizing. So being, next to these people, and in a way we all were feeling the same things. We were all on the same plane. It was bizarre, because you had 300 musicians jumping on airplanes every morning and going to play, and the everybody in the airports going to the other cities, crossing. It was wild to see. I've never seen anything like it. And just given the opportunity to do it, and I mean, we had no money while we were there was a big week of like downtime between the festivals, so we were just eating Vegemite packets, and bread, and just living it up, drinking wine because it was cheaper than water.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah,
Still is.
yeah.
Still is.
So still is great. Yeah, no, we had a blast, and we were really lucky to come over. And yeah, I heard about some of the controversy, and it is unfortunate that happened. But at the same time, for us, we were very lucky and treated amazingly. So yeah.
And you can only take your own experience from it. So you can't really talk about other
Yeah,
people.
I mean, I think that's, you know, a lot of that's changed since COVID, but the experience is still there, and I mean, not unlike what we're doing on this run, you know. I mean, we're definitely not going to get rich. We're just, you know, we just want to come rock, you know, and
Yeah.
that's really the crux of it all. I think if, you know, if it seems like a good opportunity to go play, and that the benefits outweigh the you know, the risks, then why not do it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I mean, taking that into account, so you come in here, you got 6 shows across the country. You come in here obviously to rock, as you mentioned. Having not been here for 8 years, in terms of your set list, then is it going to be heavy off the last album, or is it going to be like a greatest hits, so to speak?
I think we're going to cover all the bases, you know, just because you never know when you get the opportunity to go back, you know. So I'd hate to play, you know, I'd hate to just focus on Endless Hallway specifically and not allow fans who have been with us for 20 years the chance to like really dig into some of the older albums. So
yeah,
I think our set list it'll be a good one, and it'll run the gamut. So
nice. We're talking about that. I mean, it's the Endless Hallway is the 7th album over 20 years. My understanding is, and I could be incorrect on this, but lyrically the album was written during the COVID downtime period. So it was all like being locked inside and that sort of part. How's that translating then when you now play it live and you are out and about touring? Like, is there some sort of paradox with that?
Yeah, I guess there's always sort of a paradox with the way we've always written our record. Our formats have never changed, you know. So, and I don't know if other bands do it this way, possibly not, but we, you know, we'll come, the skeletal structure will all start in the practice rooms where we rehearse, and you know, we'll continue to build that until we have a decent instrumentation of what we think is going to be the studio version, so that I can write melodies and whatnot. And then obviously we go into the studio, everything changes, and you know, the sound, it really comes out. You know, what you see as a rough sketch in the rehearsal studios, it takes form and it becomes the thing it was meant to be. So when you finally hear it, things change up into the last minute. Playing these tunes live has been difficult because they're aggressive, they're fast, they're, you know, it's high energy. So that's all in a learning curve with playing, but our formats never really changed, and our writing process is usually the same. We go to the same team almost every time, so we're kind of set in our ways when it comes to that. But yeah, I mean, other than the easy answer, which is we didn't know if we were ever going to play it again, you know, ever going to play it at all. I think once we got back to it, it's weird to think like, oh wow, I haven't seen these people in 2.5 years, you know, because you just kind of picked back up where you left off. You go to a show in Texas, you know, 30 hours away from our hometown, and you see these people you haven't seen in 2 years, and you don't feel the need to talk about the last 2 years, because it's like we hit pause and we just restarted and we're all back, you know. So it is very weird, because obviously we all aged 2.5 years and we got back to it, you know. So it's like, it's interesting. I guess just like in the climate we're in, everyone itching to see music, and now the floodgates have opened and everybody's on the road, and so we're just lucky to be coming over and having an opportunity to play, because everything's so oversaturated right now, you know. But yeah, we're super excited.
Oh, we're lucky to have you over here as well. Don't worry, I know there's a lot of people who itching to see you play.
I hope it goes off without a hitch. I'm really excited. I think I mean, just like I said, the team from Beats Cartel have done nothing but amazing things. Everything's been so quick, and like, it's been seamless trying to get things organized to come over. And that takes a lot of pressure off of the situation, because we know people are handling the ins and outs for us, whereas normally as a DIY band we have to do a lot of that stuff ourselves. So it's really nice to see, and we're just itching to get over. We've been rehearsing, which usually, I mean, we're a little early on rehearsals now. We usually will maybe start a month and a half or a month out from a headlining tour, but like we're already itching to figure out what we're going to play and get ready. So
Nice.
all these things are, it's just all good news.
The one that was a question I was going to ask, and your background actually leads to it right now, because obviously I can see the Scream mask and Misfits and and such forth. So I mean, you are a collector of many random things. What's your most what's your most prized possession?
My most prized possession.
Like, if you're on a desert island, you can only take one of them with you.
Oh man, that's a good question. Let's see. Prized possession. I don't know if any of the things that I collect I would take on a desert island, because it's all junk to most people, I have a Freddy Krueger glove hanging on my wall that my cousin, who passed away in his early 40s, he was pretty young, but he made this glove when I was probably a 3 or 4 year old, like during the original Nightmare. And there's a picture of me as a baby in a Blockbuster video, and he's dressed up as Freddy Krueger with this glove on. He's got grape jelly all over his face. It's just like, that's a pretty prized possession of mine. I also have just random artwork and things that people have given me that I hold dear. But yeah, like first edition books and stuff. I might bring my first edition copy of The Shining with me, maybe. I mean,
nice.
That's a cool one I have. But yeah, I like masks.
Yeah.
Say what?
Did you ever manage to get Stephen King to sign that book?
No, I've never actually met Stephen King. He the show Under the Dome was filmed here in our hometown. There's a lot of film work that's done here. He also he directed Maximum Overdrive, and that was shot in Wilmington. So yeah, he's been here quite a bit and done even Firestarter was done here with Drew Barrymore way back in the day. But yeah, I've never gotten a chance to meet him. I will one day get all of my Stephen King books signed though.
Good.
That's yeah.
So we went a little bit off there, but we will actually stay on the personal part, because you were mentioning about various things that happened during that pause period and even early last year. How's your diabetes situation currently? And how would you manage that for you? And how do you manage that?
Say that. Oh yeah. So that's obviously I've spoken on it a couple of times. It's so what I got really sick with last year was a complication due to diabetes. It's called gastroparesis, and it's basically a slowing of the stomach muscles, so my stomach doesn't empty the way it should. And I'm assuming that this is just a part of getting older, and I'm learning to how to travel differently, how to eat differently. I happen to eat plant-based, which was another beautiful memory of Australia. There was a lot of vegan options, and everybody was very it seemed like you guys are leaps and bounds above America when it comes to plant-based cuisine and whatnot. I remember Smith and Daughters was a place that I just fell in love with. But yeah, that has helped me tremendously, even before this current issue my insulin levels had to go down because of I consider it, I think it has a lot to do with dairy more so than meat and whatnot. But I think when I cut out dairy completely, most of the complications of my diabetes changed. I had to come down on insulin. I stopped taking 2 different medicines for neuropathy. There were a lot of things that I can say personally. I never preach veganism because I don't give a shit what you eat, you know, but I can say that it helped me, and I can still feel the benefits of it. You know, like I wake up with more energy. I feel better generally. So I think my diet had a lot to do with it. I'm pretty sure diet has to do with most people's illnesses, honestly. But yeah, so just a lot of really careful navigation on the road, because obviously lack of sleep, high stress, not eating on a schedule, not, you know, I have to have something in my stomach constantly so that it does, if I go too long without eating, I trigger this sickness and it can last for up to a week. So, and then I'm just down. So, not last weekend, but the weekend before, we played a festival in Florida. We got stuck in traffic. A 9-hour drive turned into a 13-hour drive. And when we showed up at the hotel room, by the end of the night, I was sick, and I played a terrible show the next day, which is frustrating because I'm sure that most people would just assume that I'm like a wasted, you know, like I'm like hungover or whatever, you know, and I don't even drink anymore. So I'm like, I kind of have to play this character sometime. But I think on that day, I felt so bad, and I didn't know if I was going to make it through the set, that I had to be like, hey, I just want you guys to know, like, I feel like shit. I'm sorry. And I don't know how this is going to work out, but I got through it, you know, and I'm still here. So
still stood up.
That's
I agree with what you say about the age and the diet, because I'm only a couple of years older than you. And when I was just turned 40, I got diagnosed with heart failure, and which was basically an irregular heartbeat. And they'd figured out that was diet as well, diet and stress and the lifestyle I was leading. So you're absolutely spot on. If you're not eating correctly and not getting enough sleep.
Wasn't that Plato that said food be thy medicine or something like that? You know, I mean, it's very true. And, you know, coming from America, which is milk and bread and you know, like we're just, you know, it's insane. But yes, you're not, you know, we're told as young kids that milk does a body good, and that's not true. You know, like that's a national slogan that I've heard for 40 years, and I'm like, okay, but it doesn't really do a body good. So I think watching what you eat, especially as you get older, is very important. Not just like you know, I think everything in moderation is really, it's cliche and whatever, but I think that's like the main thing, that the takeaway from my life, if I could give anyone advice, I would say just be careful with overconsumption of anything, you know, or like overindulgence in anything, because you need some sort of like regularity and stability in your life. And why not let that be in your diet, you know? Like, I mean, something that we take for granted, just eating a sandwich, you know? I mean, I don't know. I know that's one thing that I mean, I know tons of band guys that live off of Taco Bell on the road, you know, and that shit catches up with you, you know, after a while. So, and also through this, one thing that we gained as a band was things like, instead of trying to like stay at a hotel in the summertime, we would stay at a campground and grill out and cook, you know, mad veggies, and just have like, you know, if you want a steak, get a steak, put it on the fire, whatever, you know. But yeah, there's a kind of a new, I don't know when it hit us. I think it was maybe we were traveling in an RV, but just the way that these campgrounds and pull through park spots, national parks and whatnot, there's no anonymity. You meet a neighbor down the street in their caravan with their dog and 2 kids, and there's a weird sense of travelers community that you can find. And for a lot of us on the road, it's a dark place, it's a lonely place, and a hotel room can be so anonymous that it can be scary at times. I mean, you can lose yourself in that like darkness. Yeah. So I don't know, my advice to most band dudes these days is stay outside sometimes. Take your fucking shoes off and walk through the grass. Like try to eat somewhere decent, eat lunch on the road. Like stop, make yourself eat lunch. Like don't eat a Cliff Bar. Like I don't know, I sound like an old man talking about this stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's true, man. I mean, alcohol will kill you. It's not a great thing for you. I get it. It goes hand in hand with this culture of rock and roll that we're in. I've drank enough fucking liquor to sink a battleship, but I'm now a clean living person, and I've learned how to navigate how to still be fun and still party and not partake in alcohol. So it's a dead scene, man. Fuck it, who cares?
Well, I think because I've only got 20 minutes and I've gone for 21, so we'll ask one. Well, just throw out one last question to you there. Have you got anything else you want to add to the for the people over here in Australia?
We are just so excited to be coming over there, and obviously, I mean, Adelaide in general. You said you're from with Adelaide, from Adelaide. I just remember sitting at a coffee shop in Adelaide, not to play favoritism or anything, but I was really I love Ben Folds because he's from North Carolina. And Ben Folds had a song called Adelaide that I loved as a kid, as a kid. Yeah, so I think he might still. I don't know if he's, I don't know, but anyway, Adelaide was his jam, and I love that song. And so being there, I'm an impressionable guy. I like to take it in, and I just remember sitting on a coffee shop and just writing in my journal for hours about just the whole trip. It was kind of a time to reflect, and Adelaide was very special place for me when I got there. So I'm very excited to be coming back there in particular.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'll hopefully I'll catch up with you guys when you do turn up here. I think it's 21st.
Yeah, come on out.
Yeah, definitely. But otherwise, I will let you go back to the rest of your interviews for the day. Thanks very much, man.
Ian, it was. Thank you, man.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Bye.